Yes, you're welcome. In this video, let us learn how to work with the Countif function in spreadsheet. The Countif function counts the number of cells within a range that meets a criteria that you specify. For example, you can count all the cells that starts with a certain letter. You can count all the cells that contains a number that is either large or smaller than a number you specify. So this Countif function works with a criteria, like you're looking for a certain item which is unique. You're looking for a certain number which is greater than other numbers, or a number which is larger than others. So that is the Countif function, as we are going to see in the work that I organize it. I have this work which we can use to see how to deal with it. So I organize these four alternatives that we can work with when we are looking at the Countif function. So the first one says number of students whose names begins with letter T, and then the second one, number of students whose names ends with the letter E. So we have those names here. We are going to see how to deal with it. Then we have number of students who scored above 70 in ICT. So we are going to see those who scored above 70 in ICT. And then the last one, students whose name is Alice. So we are having those students with the same names, this one and this. So we are going to see how to deal with the Countif function when working with all these questions. So we come down here. Let us begin with the first one, which says number of students whose names begins with the letter T. So the function that will enter here has to return for us the number of those whose names begins with letter T. So manually, when you count, we have this one and this. So it has to return 2 here when we enter our formula. So our formula will be equals count if we open the brackets, the range, which means we deal with all this as our range. We'll put a comma. Now, when you look at the criteria now, as we said in our introduction about Countif, the criteria is always put in quotations. So we'll open the quotations and we'll put letter T, because we are looking for those whose names begins. We'll put letter T followed by the asterisk symbol, and then we close the quotations at the end and we close the brackets. So when we press enter, it has to return that there are 2 names whose letter begins with the letter T. So that is how we deal with that Countif function, to deal with those whose names begins with a certain letter. Then the second says number of students whose names ends with the letter E. So this time still will come here and say equals count if we open the brackets, the range, because we deal with all of this. We still put a comma. This time we are looking for those whose names ends, which means we'll now start with the opening the quotations, and this time we'll put the asterisk followed by that letter, which is E. We'll close the quotations and the brackets. So we are looking for the number of rows whose names ends with E. So when we press enter, it gives us 4. So when you see we have this one, there is this one, there is this one, and this, which means those are the number of students whose names ends with the letter E. Then number of students who scored above 70. So this time we'll now come according to our column. We'll enter it here and say equals count if, we open the brackets, the range all these scores. We'll put a comma, we'll open the quotations, and since we are dealing with the numbers, we'll put this operator, the greater than, because we are dealing with the above, and then you say 70. We close the quotations and then the brackets. We press enter. So those who scored above 70, they are 5 according to ICT. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the number of students who scored above 70 in ICT. Then the last one, students whose name is Alice. So we're having students with the same names. So we have this one and this. So it has to give us 2, and the formula will be equals count if, we open the brackets, the range of our names, we put a comma. Now this time, because it is the name, we'll open the quotations and type that name, Alice, and then we close the quotations followed by the brackets. So when we press enter, it gives us 2. Manually still, if you count, there are 2 names or 2 students whose name is Alice according to our worksheet. So that is working with the count if function in spreadsheet. You can use it basing on the information you have and see how it works, and we move on. Thank you very much, and let us meet in the next video about other spreadsheet functions. Thank you.